Chapter 6. With his paramotor ready and his supplies stowed securely, Ben sought refuge within the abandoned factory for a restless night's sleep. His weary body sought solace amidst the remnants of industry, finding a momentary respite from the ceaseless turmoil of the world outside. As the first rays of dawn pierced through the broken windows, illuminating the desolate factory floor, Ben awoke with renewed determination. The ghostly echoes of the abandoned machinery faded into the background as his mind fixated on the journey that awaited him, the path to his beloved wife and son, tucked away in the sanctuary of Tatogga, British Columbia, far northern Canada. With his paramotor ready and his supplies stowed securely, Ben cast one last lingering gaze at the abandoned factory, a symbol of the transitory nature of his existence in this ravaged world. The memories of his restless night intertwined with the anticipation of what lay ahead, a turbulent path through the unforgiving skies. As the sun rose higher in the sky, its golden rays painting the world in hues of hope, Ben embarked on his journey. The paramotor, a conduit between earth and sky, became an extension of his being. With a gentle touch, he primed the propeller, releasing a resounding roar that reverberated through the empty space. In that moment, time seemed to stand still, the weight of the world hanging in the balance. The wind whispered secrets of the uncharted journey that lay ahead, carrying both the fears and aspirations that coursed through Ben's veins. Excitement intertwined with trepidation, an intoxicating mix that fueled his every move. Setting his sights on Tatogga, a beacon of hope gleaming on the distant horizon, Ben pulled the throttle. His wings sliced through the crisp morning air with newfound purpose, propelling him towards the unknown. The turbulence of the skies mirrored the turmoil within his soul. As the world unfolded beneath him, a tapestry of mountains, forests, and rivers, Ben embraced the freedom of flight, the sheer exhilaration of defying gravity. The journey to Tatogga had begun, and with every passing moment, the distance between him and his loved ones diminished, replaced by an unwavering determination to navigate the treacherous skies and emerge victorious. With each beat of the propeller, a symphony of courage and resolve echoed in his ears, drowning out the doubts and uncertainties that sought to undermine his spirit. Above the vast expanse of the world, Ben's paramotor carried him ever closer to his destination. And so, with the abandoned factory fading into the rear view, Ben soared into the azure heavens, embracing the unknown with open arms. The winds whispered their secrets, the propeller roared its anthem, and the path north beckoned him forward, a journey filled with both challenges and triumphs. Chapter 7. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an eerie glow over the desolate landscape, Ben found himself reflecting on the origins of the zombie apocalypse that had plunged the world into darkness. His mind turned to the words of ancient prophecy, whispered across the ages, now bearing an uncanny resemblance to the unfolding chaos. Among the verses etched in his memory, one rang particularly clear: Zechariah 14:12. This is the plague with which the Lord will strike all the nations that fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh will rot while they are still standing on their feet, their eyes will rot in their sockets, and their tongues will rot in their mouths. As he witnessed the grotesque visage of the undead, their decaying bodies lumbering forward with relentless hunger, Ben couldn't help but draw a parallel to the ancient biblical prophecy. It seemed as if the very words of the Bible were being brought to life in a way he never could have imagined. Recalling another verse, Revelation 25, Ben's heart trembled with a mix of awe and trepidation. The rest of the dead did not come to life until the 1,000 years were ended. These words hinted at a spiritual revelation, a time when the dead would rise again, a revelation that now seemed chillingly real. The gravity of the situation weighed heavily on Ben's shoulders as he pondered the consequences of these prophecies. The undead, with their insatiable thirst for human flesh, embodied a grotesque perversion of life and death. The relentless pursuit of the undead echoed the harrowing words of Revelation 9:6. During those days people will seek death but will not find it. They will long to die, but death will elude them. Perhaps there was a flicker of the original human soul left in these undead creatures, seeking eternal peace and longing to die, yet destined to walk the earth in a state of unlife, forever prevented from entering the kingdom of eternity. Ben found solace in his faith, but it also served as a reminder of the immense challenges that lay ahead. With each passing day, his conviction grew stronger that this apocalypse, this clash between life and death, had been foretold in the scriptures he held dear. With a deep breath, he recited the verses silently, seeking strength and guidance in the midst of the turmoil. As the words resonated in his mind, they offered both a sobering reminder of the world's descent into darkness and a glimmer of hope that lay in the promise of redemption. Armed with the prophecies that now echoed with eerie resonance, Ben forged ahead, his faith acting as a beacon of light in the encroaching darkness. He knew that his journey would be perilous, that the trials ahead would test his spirit and resilience. But as a man of unwavering faith, he pressed on, driven by the belief that his purpose in this harrowing time was not only to survive, but also to navigate the treacherous path with unwavering hope, rooted in the divine words of the scriptures. Chapter 8. Ben's paramotor, once a source of excitement and adventure, now held a new purpose, a means to navigate the treacherous terrain and bypass the hordes of undead that roamed the land. As he flew through the skies, the familiar hum of the engine offered a sense of solace amidst the chaos below. The paramotor's speed and maneuverability allowed him to survey the land, scouting for potential dangers and possible safe havens. From above, he gained a broader perspective of the world, spotting pockets of survivors and identifying potential resources. Yet despite the advantages his paramotor offered, a profound sense of despair gnawed at Ben's heart. The same wings that carried him through the skies now served as a painful reminder of the separation from his wife and son. Each beat of the propeller echoed the ache in his soul, a reminder of the relentless distance that separated them. A trek across the continent of nearly 3,000 miles, the paramotor provided him with a supreme tactical advantage. Throughout the day, Ben scoured the land below, searching for any signs of survivors. He utilized the paramotor's speed and altitude to cover vast distances. From above, he witnessed the grotesque spectacle of the undead roaming, their insatiable hunger a haunting reminder of the peril they faced. With each passing hour, Ben's resolve grew stronger. The paramotor became a symbol of his determination, a vehicle that carried him closer to the reunion he so desperately sought. While the skies offered a temporary refuge from the horrors below, it was the thought of his wife's smile and his son's laughter that propelled him forward, driving him to push the boundaries of endurance. As the sun began to set on his first day in this nightmarish world, Ben landed, securing his paramotor and finding a safe place to rest. Exhaustion mingled with hope and anguish within his weary heart. He knew the road ahead would be fraught with danger, but armed with his paramotor, he prepared himself for the challenges that awaited. Chapter 9. As the sun rose on the first day of the zombie apocalypse, Catherine and James Thompson found themselves thrust into a nightmare they never could have imagined. With fear gripping their hearts, they huddled together, seeking solace and a semblance of safety amidst the chaos that surrounded them. Their priority was to secure their immediate surroundings. Catherine quickly assessed their temporary shelter, fortifying its defenses to protect against the relentless onslaught of the undead. Using whatever materials they could find, they reinforced doors and windows, creating a barricade against the ravenous creatures that roamed outside. While the deafening silence of the outside world bore witness to the devastation that had occurred, Catherine refused to succumb to despair. She knew she had to stay strong for James, her young son, whose innocent eyes mirrored her own fear. With a steady hand and a determined spirit, she assured him that they would face this nightmare together. As the hours ticked by, Catherine and James scavenged for supplies, mindful of the lurking dangers that hid in every shadow. They moved cautiously, navigating through the abandoned streets, searching for food, water, and any useful tools that could aid their survival. The sight of the undead, their rotting flesh and vacant eyes, sent shivers down Catherine's spine. She shielded James from the grotesque scene, shielding him from the harsh realities of this new world. However, their presence served as a constant reminder of the dire situation they found themselves in. As nightfall descended, casting an ominous pall over the shattered world, Catherine and James retreated to the relative safety of their fortified shelter. They clung to each other, their bond providing solace and a glimmer of hope amidst the desolation. She reassured him with whispered lullabies and stories of bravery, doing her best to shield him from the terrors that lurked outside their fragile sanctuary. Together they shared their fears, their hopes, and their dreams of a world free from the clutches of the undead. As they held on to each other in the darkness, they clung to the belief that together they could endure whatever trials lay ahead. Chapter 10. Starting from Big Bend National Park in Texas, Ben's route had taken him northwest and would ultimately see him skirting the edge of the Rocky Mountains. This path would allow him to leverage the natural barriers and rugged terrain as a potential deterrent to the spread of the undead. The mountainous regions, he reasoned, would act as physical obstacles that might slow the relentless advance of the infected hordes. Flying over the mountainous regions would also provide Ben with advantageous aerial views, enabling him to scout for potential threats and safe landing spots. The elevated vantage point would allow him to navigate with greater precision, avoiding heavily infested areas and seeking out signs of survivors or resource-rich locations. As he continued his journey, Ben aimed to stay near major highways and transportation routes. While the roadways were no longer safe for ground travel, they provided a valuable reference for navigation and served as potential markers for scavenging supplies along the way. The remnants of civilization along these routes might offer hidden caches of food, water, and other essential resources necessary for his survival. Ben's chosen path also accounted for natural waterways, such as rivers and lakes. These water sources not only provided him with potential opportunities to replenish his water supply, but also acted as natural barriers against the undead. Their presence offered an additional layer of protection, as zombies were less likely to traverse bodies of water. Ben planned to make periodic stops in towns or settlements along the route. These stops would allow him to refuel his paramotor, restock essential supplies, and potentially gather valuable information about the state of the world and the whereabouts of other survivors. The chosen route, while carefully planned, was not without risks. Ben understood that he would encounter challenges and potential danger zones along the way. Remote areas might lack resources or shelter, making it necessary for him to adapt and rely on his survival skills to endure.